Hi, I'm Gunnar Gilmore, and I'll be your host for this virtual field trip of Blue Springs State Park. The spring pool is nearly circular, with a visible boil in the center. It's flanked by dramatically steep banks on three sides, with an overlook constructed near the vent. An underwater cave system has been mapped at Blue Spring, but it is very difficult and dangerous for divers to enter the cave through the spring head due to outflow of groundwater. Scientists now understand that Blue Spring, along with other springs in the St. John River, is fed by relic seawater in the region's groundwater. The resulting water discharged from the vent is a combination of relatively young fresh water and older salt water. Current water quality may thus be affected by water that entered the aquifer as much as 100 years earlier. Blue Springs is an aquifer-fed water source, and what that means is rocks in the bedrock of Florida have holes in it, and we call that porous stone. And the way the water gets through it is these surface wells and these sinkholes let the water into the aquifer and into this limestone porous rock. And it travels through it, going down the surface level and out the spring. And I've witnessed firsthand the effects of erosion on the spring. Slowly, the walls around the spring have been caving in and deteriorating due to people climbing and jumping from the cliffs. Now, it's all barricaded off and you're not allowed to jump in the springs anymore just because of this immense impact that it's had on the ecosystem here.
Let's go to this one.
Yeah.
We're just taking a video for school.
Approximately 101 gallons of water are churned out by the spring every day. And this is a major feeding point for the St. John's River that's only a few hundred feet that direction. Oh wait, take a video of the aquifer.
It doesn't show up.
Oh, well, that's awkward. This is what the spring used to look like years ago, before erosion caved in the walls and made them the flat sides that you see today.
Yeah, because I'm going to put these shoes back on and walk all that way.
Because the spring is aquifer fed, it stays a constant 72 degrees year round, which makes it a perfect resort for manatees. Manatees need warm water, and they're hurt by any temperatures below 66 degrees, so the warmer waters of the spring are perfect for them. Here we can see a lot of manatees.
Alright.
It's a manatee. This is a great educational comic strip on how we can preserve Florida's natural resources. And one of the most serious threats to the clarity and the beauty of our springs is groundwater pollution. Things like fertilizers, pesticides, oil. These can all get into the groundwater through the aquifer, and it can damage our springs and the ecosystems that it supports. And using environmentally friendly soaps when you wash your car can help cut down on these harmful chemicals that get into our water. Another thing that damages the ecosystems is erosion. And like you saw before, this can break down the area around the springs, and it can damage how the water level is. It can damage the sediment in the springs. It's just really bad. And using the designated boat launch can help cut down on that erosion. Another thing that's really bad in Florida is invasive plants. And things like hydrilla can grow up to an inch a day, and it can completely overtake a spring run. And
We need to start saving our springs, right?
yes, we do. These are things that you can do to save a springs. Ranger Tom here is going to help us out. Eliminate pollutants to keep the water clear. Put all trash and recycling in the designated bins. Avoid stepping on plants. Use the walkways. Enter the water from the designated areas to avoid eroding the spring walls, and admire wildlife from a distance, and don't interview them if they don't want to be interviewed. Hi, I'm Gunnar Gilmore, and this is Interview with a Park Ranger. Hi, what's your name?
Greg Gilmore. Nice to meet you, Gunnar.
Thanks, nice to meet you too. And I just had a couple questions about the spring. What would you say has been the impact of erosion on the spring head?
Well, the biggest thing is when you have more erosion, you have more human activity around the spring, you have less vegetation is not growing. So you're going to have more water, rainwater, and pesticides, chemicals that go into the water. Plus you're going to have more soil go into the water, which makes it less clear. People want to come here, they want to be able to swim, they want to be able to see the manatees. If you have a lot of erosion, then the water gets really cloudy.
Okay, awesome. And how many manatees have you seen?
Well, this winter we had, the most we had I think was 360
Wow.
plus manatees. Today we just had 2, but it's warmer, so you don't have the same amount the summer months.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This has been Interview with a Park Ranger. Interview with a lizard. Excuse me, sir. If we could just have a moment of your time, I'd like to ask you a couple questions.
Sir?
How do you
Sir?
like living at the springs? Do you encounter a lot of predators? What would you say your daily diet consists of?
Thank you for your time.
We have another animal to interview.
Are you gonna lasso her arm?
Hi, can I ask you a couple questions? How do you like life at the park? Does it hurt you that people say that you're mythical?
All right.
Interview with wildlife. Hello, sir. How are you doing today? Are you enjoying the springs? Is it hot enough for you out here?
All right.